Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm your host Dr. Sane and I'm here with a shocking story today. That it is so disturbing that we begin to question what is actually going wrong with our modern world today. Let's dig into this guys, but not before I warn you that this could be disturbing for some viewers. So please employ viewer discretion, and this is not for any viewers under the age of 18. Thank you. Daniel Bartlam was born in November 1996 and grew up in Nottinghamshire, England. His mother Jacqueline and his father Adrian raised their children in a comfortable middle-class environment. Though he had a relatively normal childhood, his parents divorced when he was 9, and it was around this time that Daniel's behavior took a turn for the worse. His mother met her new partner in 2008. 12-year-old Daniel was now finding himself in an unfamiliar family dynamic, and it was being theorized that with a stepfather and a new baby brother, he may have started feeling unloved or left out. He began to get angry about the lack of attention he was getting, and his anger only built up over time. By the time he was 14, Bartlam reportedly had no social life, and he spent most of his time alone in his room watching horror movies and playing video games. He reportedly began fighting with his mother a lot, and on a few occasions his stepfather had to physically step in between them. Daniel was becoming very antisocial and attention-seeking, bad-tempered and very difficult to deal with. But only his family and those closest to him were aware of his temper and his awkward and bizarre behaviors. At school and in public, Daniel seemed completely normal and was thought of as a present child. He was said to have been slowly turning into an intelligent psychopath. Daniel was reclusive and spent a lot of time alone in his room watching DVDs and playing video games. He enjoyed violent type video games and violent horror movies. He was also known for defecating and hiding his feces around his room. Daniel loved watching Coronation Street and enjoyed the scenes which showed sexual misconduct and violence, and developed an insane love for this British TV series. Daniel, as you know, who lived with his mother, younger brother and dog, was a member of a film club. He liked Star Wars, Doctor Who, and as I mentioned before, spent his whole day playing games on his computer. But he had developed an obsession with Coronation Street villain John Stape, who battered stalker Charlotte Hoyle with a hammer before leaving her body in the wreckage of a tram crash to cover up his crime. Bartlam immersed himself in this fantasy world of his to such an extent that the boundaries between real life and fiction became tragically blurred. Let's go to Easter 2011. After fire ravaged a house in the quiet suburban street of George Drive, Redhill, neighbours learned that doting mum Jackie Bartlam had been found dead inside. A traumatized neighbour said at the time, "You see things like that on the TV, but when you know the person, you just can't believe it." The fire was no accident. Police found Jackie, 47 years old, had died from head injuries, and they were treating her death as murder. Soon their attention turned to her own son, 14-year-old Daniel Bartlam. Investigations were underway. On Easter Monday, 2011, Daniel had acted out a script he had written on his computer about a boy called Daniel Bartlam who bludgeoned his mother to death. This is what had happened, guys, and this is heart-wrenching and very, very sad. As his mother lay in bed, Daniel Bartlam struck her 7 times on the head and her face with a claw hammer. Then he rolled her body onto the floor, packed newspaper around it, poured petrol on it, and set it on fire. Bartlam left a lump hammer nearby, making it appear as though it was dumped by an intruder who had escaped out of the window. He then wiped the weapon he had used with cleaning fluid and hid it in his bedroom before he escaped with his brother and the dog from the burning house. Like the boy in his play, Daniel pretended to the police the attack had been committed by an intruder. He thought he'd be hailed as a hero for saving his little brother and his dog from a burning house. But unlike the ending to his fictional play, Bartlett did not get away with murder. He was convicted by a jury. The judge gave him a life sentence and ordered he served a minimum of 16 years before parole and described it as a grotesque and senseless killing. Unfortunately for you, it was more difficult to destroy your body than you thought, and the pathologist who examined your mother's body was able to say certainty that the attack had been with a claw hammer rather than a lump hammer. You left in the room, the judge said. Bartlam had initially told police the intruder attacked his mum, but police found versions of the script on his computer. Realizing the finger of suspicion would turn on him, he had admitted he killed his mother, but claimed that he had been driven to it by her physical and verbal abuse. This gave him a defense in law which says loss of control, if proved, would reduce an allegation of murder to manslaughter. But by their unanimous guilty verdict to murder, the jury rejected his defense.
Go.
The judge said, while there clearly were arguments between you and your mother, not untypical between mothers and their teenage children, I am quite satisfied there was no physical or verbal abuse by your mother, such as you alleged in your evidence at trial. The jury unanimously convicted him of murder. On 9th February 2012, Daniel Bartlam would be eligible for parole in 2027. Guys, it's also interesting that the court had also heard how he was reported missing from his home by his mother in 2010 and was found by police walking in Newthall, a village and civil parish located in Nottinghamshire, England. In May of that year, he had been referred to a school counsellor after an accident in the class, where he had become very upset and had begun shouting and screaming at his colleagues and wearing a tie which he called Fred. He told classmates that his tie was trying to hurt him. Daniel Bartlam had revealed during counselling he was having bad dreams, felt sad and angry, and he was hearing voices telling him to act. Sean Smith QC, who prosecuted the case in 2012, had told Nottingham Crown Court, he said the voice tells him to hurt particular people who have upset him and made him angry, and that he was almost fully controlled by it and finding it hard to resist. Daniel Bartlam has gone down in criminal history as one of Britain's most evil young killers and has been dubbed the Coronation Killer. Guys, let's see. Coming at this story from a religious angle, I have read in the Bible, guys, and I know that this sort of crime will make a person burn in hell forever. Will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. I know that Buddhists believe in eternal hell for those who kill their parents. Guys, if you notice a child, a teenager, yearning for violent games, yearning for violent movies, and alienating himself or herself from others and displaying bizarre physical behavior, or just lonely, please consult your family doctor immediately. You may also call Livewire if you are in New Zealand or Australia, which is a free online community connecting teens who suffer with mental illness, with connecting them with others they can relate to. Also, some other useful telephone numbers would be, if you're in Australia, 1300 673 664 08 7912 8026. The American websites on helping mentally ill kids offers valuable advice as well. The British website youngminds.com offers a lot of information on these issues also. That's it from me, guys. I hope to see you again soon. Good night.